Nice.
Yeah.
So yes, make a lead, and I don't know what we were gonna talk about or anything, but make a lead so we get a cr- creative crash.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what we're going to talk about either, brother. Uh,
No. It's just talk about life. Talk about life.
yeah, yeah, man. Maybe we can even start with how we found each other, Jimmy. So maybe we can start with that little story, that little nugget, how we first found each other,
Yeah,
and
sure.
we'll go from there.
Well, the thing is, I'm just some time to time I like TikTok. So yes, flipping, you get inspiration, you get a lot of creation out of TikTok when people are smart doing short things in 20 seconds. And then, just out of nowhere, they randomly selected one of your videos into my TikTok flow. And you had this, like, I don't even remember what you were saying, but like your energy, like where you were glowing when you're talking, and you were in the zone of being like yourself, just talking to the heart, being authentic, and you had this glow when both in your voice and in your eyes and in your body language that I was like, I need to hear more from him. So I used to like look you up on Instagram. I followed you on TikTok. I looked you up on Instagram and saw that you were actually coaching in this program I was doing in 1 week called My Awakening. So from there on, we had our coaching to patient relation. But I actually liked you so much that I was like, I can't lose this. Like this man is glowing, and I actually have like an what do you call it when a mutual relation to him.
Yeah,
So you were actually like a beam of light on TikTok for me.
that's beautiful, brother. Hey, I I I find it's like a soul connection, and what I've noticed for me, Jimmy, is like the more that you just express yourself fully and just be authentic and just talk about life, the more that you're gonna find that all these people are gonna come from all ends of the world, and that's what's been happening recently of just
Mm.
fully expressing yourself, allowing yourself to be however you are, and you're finding that yeah, yourself coming from Sweden. Um, we had Robert, he was from Finland, and we had Anna, she was from I think New Jersey or she's New York. Like all these different people going through at the same experience at the same time. It's all just a reflection of where you're at, and that's probably what you'll find as well, Jimmy. With you've got your community over in Sweden as well. It's not like
Mm.
it's not like you're trying to find all these people or you're trying to like create this environment. It's more just like a reflection, a byproduct of what you're being, of who you're being, and you find that just all these energies come. So that's how we connected. And you're right, bro. It's like it's more than just like I guess a client coach relationship. I felt even before we started that 7 day experience. There's like a soul connection. There's a connection that's far deeper
Yeah,
than yeah.
it's like a twin brother. Like the first talk we had is was for me like we have done this talk so many times
Yeah.
before. Like and the funny thing is we have 6 hours difference between our time zone.
Mm.
So you have your morning tea right now, and
Yeah.
actually I have my late night tea. So here in Sweden it's like 22, and for you it's like 04, isn't it?
Yeah. 4:20. Yeah. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, cheers. Six
Yeah.
hours apart. So,
That's
and
beautiful,
I
mate.
like it when you like connect these time zones when I'm slowing down in the evening, going to bed. You're like starting up, going to start the day,
Yeah.
and I find it mutual when we try to sync our calls, like when you just need to chat. I remember I was up early in the morning, went with the train through Dalarna here in Sweden. It's like mountains, it's valleys. It's the right like from Swedish to English, Dalarna is valleys.
Okay.
It's the meaning of the word Dalarna.
Yeah.
Dalarna in Swedish. It's valleys in English. And I was just showing you this, like the nature you were going through, just going with the train through the raw of nature and sitting there just looking out and talking to you out loud, because this is one of the things that I like is like when you talk to someone with depth in the conversation and you're like talking with people around you.
Mm.
I actually start seeing people like tuning into what you're saying, like you're talking deep. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And you'd be speaking English too, so it'd be interesting for people around you in
yeah,
Sweden. But, oh, what's going on here?
100%, 100%.
That's cool, man. Yeah. There'd be some beautiful countryside around Sweden, wouldn't there?
Yeah, it is. And I love this intention of also this call is like yes, make a call up about life.
Yeah.
No more intention than that. That's what I love with you. It's not like, yeah, I'm gonna call up and we're gonna talk about this kind of theme, but
I used to be like that, man, when I started my podcast 2 years ago.
yeah, like I need to talk to about something important. Like
I
no,
had a
no,
list. Yeah.
just express yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a list of things I used to go through questions when I used to have people on. Like that was 2 years ago when I started a podcast. And like half the time you wouldn't be listening because you'd be more interested in how you can ask the next question. And
Hmm.
it just takes away the actual beauty of having a conversation, having that connection, the one on one, because you're
Yeah,
always in your head about when I can say the next thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like mm, I don't actually like. I love the relations of one-on-ones, but also in groups.
Yeah.
You like I always get a energy fingerprint. Like I have a type of feeling in my body when I'm talking to you or talking to my fiance or talking to my friends or son brothers or what it is that is unique for the quantity and quality of the group. So if it's
Mm.
one-on-one, I know when I tap into you, I get a feeling in my body. But also when I tap into a large group, I get this like feeling in my body that is unique for that type of constellation.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I really enjoy. And I did a vision quest here in the end of May that we're talking about the Hopi Indians in America and
Mm-hmm.
their prophecies. And they like talk. The article talks about the prophecy talks about four worlds. Like the first world burned up because the humans got into their ego, like
Mm.
greed of you putting profit over nature. So you just harvest and harvest and harvest for profit. Like Halloween was actually once in a time a ceremony for
Mm.
the other side, the dead people, the people that have walked over. And now they're all this costume and profits and candy, like everything around Halloween is about money. Also the Christmas Yule in Sweden is also about money. And I have been start reading two books about this indigenous cultures and how they're just lived on Earth, walking around, following the nature, the
Mm.
animals. And on this vision quest, they talked about these four worlds. The first burned up like Ragnarok in Vikingatiden, or this fiery end of the world. The second world got into an ice age. The third world went into a flood, and now we're in the end of the fourth world. And they actually talk about how we could how the end game of going to the fourth to the fifth without an end game we do this in these small groups,
Mm.
being ourselves,
Mm.
talking authentic, like starting the sacred fires again.
Yeah.
Like going out to the woods and sit and share your experience of life. And that's what the one thing I actually took from the awakening program was like being in stillness and like don't search for things, but let things find you
Yeah.
when you're in your authentic self.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful how I snapped up you from Australia. It's actually amazing.
Yeah, I love that, bro. That's reminding me of a book I read a couple of years ago called Tribe by Sebastian
Yeah,
Junger,
yeah,
and he's talking about exactly that, about how we can well, how we used to live in groups of 60 or 70, like no more than those sort of numbers.
yeah,
And as we start to get those overpopulation, then I guess we just start to become we lose our roles, like lose our sense of self. We become these roles
yeah,
that we play, or it could be like banker or electrician or whatever it is, or husband wife. But I guess that sense of community is being lost. But you can see it now in 2023. That's coming back in a big way. Even even my wife and I, like my wife just got back from Germany. Um, like less than a month ago, she went over there for her best friend's wedding, and she was saying that there's a spot in Germany, like she's near Frankfurt, like a little farming village 40 minutes east of Frankfurt, and there's a
yeah.
place there that she's looking at for us to ideally have a house there, because we want to live 6 months in Germany, 6 months in Australia, and just have that
Mm.
experience. And there's always thoughts about, for her, there's always thoughts about what are the kids going to do for school and things like that. But I'm just more of like, we'll find a way. And my thought is like, we wouldn't be the first person to to live 6 months here, 6 months there, or whatever. There's plenty of people that have done it before, but also there's that community feel, and I feel that's what she sort of misses, because she came over to Australia um, to live in 2015, and all her family's in Germany, but she had that feeling inside of her, like that intuition of like, I'm just gonna follow this guy, because we got married in Germany, and then she came over, so all her family's over there, and it was hard, man, at the start. It was interesting. I'm talking about this. It was hard at the start for her, but then she developed. She found some friends. She found her own community. Um, but what she realized when she went back to Germany was like just that family, because she's got two sisters and she's got a couple of really close friends to her that could just help her. Just like a it takes a village to raise a child, because we've got three young girls, and it just gives her that sense of community. That's what she felt was missing sometimes in Australia, in Perth, because we're the most isolated capital city in the world, and all her family and friends are back home in Germany. So I feel you're right, brother. What you see this movement happening now, like so many groups of people are just expressing their truth and just finding their tribe in a way, like just how we've found each other.
Yeah, like there's some kind of thank you for sharing you like the relations of your family because we have the same thing here because I have some family in Dalarna, but we are actually from Stockholm, and all of Erica's, my fiance's family is living in Stockholm. I have friends there too, and some kind of some brothers and sisters. But when we actually moved to the valleys, the Dalarna, we just had my family, my mother, her man, and their two daughters here. We didn't have anything else. So it's a huge step moving like the 20 miles from our hometown, like letting everything to go. And this was like actually 1 month after like the spread of the corona. Like it was so spot on with us that we need to leave the country. And my fiance have like this soulless, not soulless, soulful alarm clock. Like when shit is going down on the collective level,
Mm.
she's like, we need to do something,
Yeah,
and that's we acted on it. So we moved like out on the country yard, away from the big city.
yeah, that's
But
huge, man.
what I was, yeah, it was, and we have been living here for 3.5 years now. And it's the best decision I made, actually, to move out to the more of nature.
Yeah, that's amazing because we had the same experience for us. Like that was my massive awakening, really, going through COVID. And I've talked
Yeah,
about it a few times about like there's a knowing, there's that soul knowing within you, that intuition of like what is right or what needs to happen. But then when you step in that the unknown, then the mind comes in. It's like, how's it gonna work out? What are we gonna do? Like all that fear. But
yeah,
but it's through stepping through the unknown where you get to see it. You get to realize that like nothing is we don't have control of anything. Oh, 1 second, brother. The light came out. How funny is how's the timing
yeah.
of that?
It's
We don't have
getting
control.
dark. It's getting darker.
It's getting darker in here, bro. Um, but yeah, we don't have control of anything, man. And that was my big awakening going through COVID.
I
And
I
yeah,
I had like the same thing. Like following, I was starting following, questioning the main media. I started questioning it, like
yeah,
searching for alternatives of what's going on because it was something fishy about it. So
mm,
just talking about it, but my fiance actually said something like, if I haven't shouldn't have read any news, this COVID wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't get on my
yeah,
life if I wasn't watching media.
hundred
And
percent.
then when you watch this alternative media, like the shit of all these demonstrations going on
Yeah,
around the world,
mm,
Canada, Germany, France, Australia, all these riots going
mm,
up, and the mainstream media was like silent. They
mm,
didn't mention anything about it in Sweden. It was like this is just normal, but when a riot goes up that is in their type of narrative, they
yeah,
snap it up. So
yeah,
so I was just questioning things, and in the end, my friend told me like the true mastering of manifestation is when you have it in your soul, your body, and your mind at the same time. It's like a zoom, like a
mm,
light strike of manifestation. Like when you feel it in your body, in your guts, in your soul, and in your mind, it will be so.
yeah,
And that's what I'm stopped actually stopped searching outwards and
mm-hmm,
going inwards in this, like finding peace. What if all these worries just
yes,
stopped
yes. I love that, bro.
being acceptance.
Yeah, I love that. And even yesterday, I was at the shops, and I was just waiting to be served at the food, like a supermarket, and I had a look on my right hand side, and there was like these magazines, and one of the magazines that says like wife wife stabs husband or something. That's like the headlines on the magazine. I looked at it, I was like, oh, like that's very interesting. It's there's so much in our environment that's just triggering us into a state of fear.
Yeah,
Yeah, but as you become aware of it, realize that it's just a programming. It's not you can decide if you're going to enter that, and that's what I did. Like during COVID, I might have been very similar to you, brother, where I was going deep into the other side with all the. I didn't go to any of the riots, but I could see a lot of people going there, and I was deep into the belief that this is not right. Um, but that's also like a rabbit hole that you can go down and have a sense of identity,
yeah,
and you'll
yeah,
find people that are in harmony with how you're feeling there as well, because you could be like, the government is doing this to us, this is a conspiracy, this is bullshit, and you're going to find people around you that fit that narrative, and then you can create a community of that. But it's like, if you notice, I noticed like the people that were rioting in Perth and stuff, now they're on to the next thing. They're on to like the war of Ukraine or whatever, and then they're on to the next thing. And you got to ask yourself, like,
yeah.
were they happy before?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm so with you on that one. I actually read a book from Don Miguel Russ. You know,
Yep. Five
Junior,
agreements.
Junior, the father, Don Miguel Russ. The Four Agreements the father did, but the son of Junior, he wrote a book called The Five Levels of Attachment.
Yeah.
And he was talking about like when you can see yourself in your mirror and be like, he talks about this search of an identity. I identify me as like a football fan of Ajax, or I identify me as a vegan or a meat eater or a father. We get all these type of hundreds of identities that we like attached to. We get attached to those identity and start creating an illusion about what we should and shouldn't be, because we put this all this pressure on our shoulders. Like I have a picture of what a great father would be like, and also like a football hooligan, or a football fan, or a vegan, or whatever it could be. But when you get attached, you lose yourself in another identity that you aren't. So I am is just what I am.
Yeah.
And I know that you know what I'm talking about, but I'm like trying to get it through myself. Like he was telling me, like level 1 of attachment is level 0. You just watch people play football. It doesn't
Mm.
matter where they are or what they play with. It could be a thin can, but it also could be a football. It doesn't matter. You just enjoy the show.
Yeah.
You don't share on any team or anything. The second level, that you have a team. You like the team more than the other. You're sharing on them. The third level is like you need to be on the stadium. You need to have the vibe of the team. You're sharing. You're booing. The fourth level is like you're starting to get aggressive against
Yeah.
others,
Yeah.
because you're so attached to this identity of the team. Like, I'm a truly fan of this. I hate everybody else that we are
Yeah.
fighting for. And the fifth, and then they talked about the fifth level, when some team dropped in the list of like going to degrees, dropping out of the cup or whatever.
Yeah.
He hang himself, because
Yeah.
he's so ashamed of the team that he couldn't survive, so he
Mm.
took his life for the team because they dropped out. And some other bus driver drove into like a huge scare of people that were
Mm.
on the other team, like driving into it, killing, and that's the fifth level, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
5 levels. And I just see when you can look yourself in the mirror and see that I'm perfect as I am, and illusions of like failures and what you think you should be is not what you are.
Mm. Oh
But you
man.
know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you're speaking to my soul. Hey, I was that identity as well as the football. Not so much hooligan, but I'd go to like Perth Glory, our local team. I'd go to their games and stand in the stadium. There's like a supporters group where we'd all stand, and we score a goal, we'd just be throwing our beers in the air and just singing the whole time, chanting. And it's like in a religious. It's very
Yeah.
yeah, not too dissimilar to a
Sect.
religion.
It's more like a sect.
Oh yeah, I don't know what sect means. What's that?
Um, it's like religious, hardcore religious, when everybody sees to one person, what do you
Yeah.
call it? Secret
Ah.
society.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like a cult.
Cult, yeah. Sect is cults.
Okay. Yeah, it is
So it's
exactly like
just the
that.
Swedish word for cult, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and I actually see this. I read this book, The Time of the Black Jaguar, where he was the Arkham, the writer, write about how they actually go further about don't attach to things. So when they can do a vision quest,
Mm.
and in this or what do you call it, offering ceremony, so you offer all of your values to other people, like your clothes, your jewelry, your food, everything. You just give it away because you know it's going to get back.
Yeah.
So he was actually talking about his little sister that did this so many times that she always had a T-shirt from someone to wear, and then you have a flow. You don't have a stagnation in the energy. You don't have this like your watch that you have had for 15 years, and if you would lose it, you will be destroyed or anything like that. It's just a flow in everything.
Yeah. I see that. I see that in my experience as well, brother. I love, And it's the more you give, isn't it? The more you give, the more you receive, just through your energy.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
we receive it in like conversations like this. But I also see the attachment, and I've seen it like it's so funny just to observe like my wife, and she's got like boxes full of bags that she's collected over the years that she had when she was
Mm.
like 15 and stuff, and we've got them in the storage. And I'm like, when are you going to ever need these bags? But we're starting to just find things and just give them away because we don't have any need for them. And you're right, there's an attachment to the item of like, no, that this identifies me, this holds me into this identity that I think I am, because I have a memory of this from childhood. This brings back this, whatever it is, but it's all just coming back to these attachments that we can just let go of. And you're right, there's an energy transmission that happens when
Stagnates.
you let
Yeah,
go. Yeah, when the
yeah, yeah.
opposite.
It is you when you're like fill up your energy cup like with things, you can't receive anything more. You
Yeah.
need to release, and that's in the also in the material world. You get these sentimental energies attached to objects. Like the only things that I have left that I'm really attached to, it's like some jewelries and necklaces and such things.
Mhm.
There's this. If I just put it in a bag, I would forget it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Until the next time I'm like scrambling around in. And actually, it reminds us of another book. It's called um, in I guess think it's called Clean. It's like you clean out your house once every third month or something. Like you put it in your hand and say like, does this make me happy? Does this
Mm.
make me loved? Does this make me satisfied? And if the answer is no, I haven't wear this T-shirt for 3 months. Get rid of it
Yeah.
to make room for other things.
Yeah. I love that, brother. Sometimes I can go a little bit on the other end of if it's summertime and I'm like, I'm going to get rid of all these winter clothes. And then when it comes to winter, I'm like telling my wife, where's all my winter clothes? She's like, yeah, you got rid of
Mm.
it. I'm like, oh, shit. So,
Yeah, but yeah,
yeah, yeah, I've got to have some sort of bearings. But I actually want to touch on your vision quest as well, um, Jimmy, because I didn't really, I think you told me a little bit
yeah.
about it. But maybe you can talk to us about that.
So the wishing quest I did with a friend that was space holder for it. He has done the real one that is in America. The Indians, the Lakota, um, they actually do this like 400 of tobacco bundles. You take a little bit of tobacco in a, we call it knyte in Swedish. Knyte, tobacco knyte. It's like a huge line with the small tobacco bundles. Like you put it, and in every bundle you like get you put a prayer. So we found a spot out in the woods. He was collecting. We were like 7 people. We just went out. He put his like what you call it, van or like house car or what do you call it.
A caravan. Yeah.
Caravan, yeah, where he had his stuff. Like, so we did a drum ceremony. We did a talk. He talked about the Hoopies. He read some other articles, and then we started doing these prayers into these bundles. So it's like seven in the Swedish version. We do like 14 of them, if I remember it correct, or if it was more. But like 7 things you're happy for. Like I'm happy for my family, for myself, for the life I'm living, for all the nature giving me, like things you're happy for. Then like 3 things you make a bundle, like things that you wish to come over. Like I am a nice guy, or I'm I'm shy. Like getting a prayer for it, and then for the next generations, the this generation, and all the generations. Uh, and then you do the flags of the bundles, the string in all the 4 directions. We do it like a medicine wheel. You stand to north and like pray to the north and the south and the west and the east. And when you've done this, you have we have located a spot in the woods. So you're all alone. So we spread out in a big area in the woods in Sweden, and then you like collect a spot where you want to sit down, and then you clean it up. You take up like um, branches and stuff, and then you create like a circle that is more of for you, where you're gonna sit for the whole night without a telephone, without a watch, and you're gonna sit here with your bundle, like your string of bundles, and you put it on a stick, and you sit there with it pointing north for 12 hours. And the vision quest is actually in other traditions they do it for 2-3 days, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, without food and water. And before the vision quest, you do this fast for without food for 7 days. You just eat some nuts and light food, and then you have a feast there in the woods. You go out and sit down, and Kenneth did like he put an eagle feather where the bundles were at the stick, and he put prayers for you, some smudge smoke, and also a sacred like spell around the circle. And weird things can happen when you're sitting on a wishing quest. Like Kenneth would tell me when the horizon was flipped upside down, like the sky was in the ground and the ground was in the sky. That was his view. And like bears have come up, like animals, like birds come and visit you, like the spirits of the nature is visiting you around the circle. So that was what I did for 12 hours. I sat there in the woods, and I started doing breath work the first 2 hours of these 12 hours. I have a friend that is a instructor for breath work called Hale here in Sweden, and he have taught me some techniques of getting in deep touch with the breath. And at the end of the session that I did with the breath was like, I just feel my breath. I didn't feel my body. I was one with the mountain where I was sitting. It was so profound. And when you do this like 30 times, double tap inwards and one outhale, inhale 2 times, outhale once for 30, then you do like 10 huge one in and out, then you hold your breath for like 3 minutes, and you're starting like getting cold and warm in your body. You feel your third eye, you feel the mountain, the nature. It's laying there doing this for 2 hours. It was getting so in touch with the mountain. Like the mountain has been here for the longest. He's been standing there for maybe 100,000 of years, like just being there, observing. So I get in touch with the mountains, and after that, I'm still in the process. It was 2 months ago. I'm still in the process of being with the vision quest. What happened there? What I was getting in touch with. So that's like a wishing quest for me. My experience.
Wow, that's beautiful, brother. I feel that.
And I can also say that the strongest thing I have ever did is sweat lodge. I don't know if you have tried it.
Yeah, like a sauna.
Yeah, it's like a sauna, but you do it only with nature's materials. So you don't use any like it's all wooden blankets. You cover like you what do you call it when you tie up like branches like a shell in the ground, digging a hole, covering it with the wool blankets, and then you heat up stones, like 40 stones. You just put a fire on them for hours, and then you shovel in four periods the stones, and then you sit in there with. In this time, we did it with the Sun Warriors, a group I'm with, and we did this for 2 hours, maybe 2-3 hours, sitting in there, sweating, and getting in more stones, praying together. and it was, and when you've been in there for 2 hours and get butt naked and you just crawl out in the end, like into the mud, like feeling Mother Nature's touch with the cold mud, and yeah, it was amazing. Strongest experience ever.
Feels like sounds like a rebirth or something.
Yeah, it's total rebirth. You just pray every thick. It's create like a vortex in there,
Mm-hmm.
and after each time you have done the circle, sharing your like life and your requests and everything, you open up and you can actually feel like this vortex like going out to the fire 2 meters away and then up to Father Sky, and then you close up, putting in more stones, closing in, and start it all over again. So it's a
Wow,
purification deluxe.
I feel that, brother.
So and then they did this in old cultures. It's like to many people it's strange going to a sweat lodge with 8 other men butt naked, like you're sitting like covered. It's not a big cave, like
Yeah, I was
it's
thinking,
not
how
big.
big would it be?
Oh, I don't know. It get tight. You can sit nine around the pit in the middle,
Okay. Yep.
and the stone are like red. They're glowing red.
Whoa. And how hot does
Well,
that get? Do you know, Jimmy? They
I
get
have
really
no.
hot.
I it get really hot.
Yeah.
It's like
And
like a strong sauna.
for
I
two
remember
hours.
my
Fuck.
yeah for 2 hours. I remember the fifth time the firekeeper that's the firekeeper Eric that stands with the stones and shoving at them in. He was telling me that he actually knew when we were going to. We didn't say anything, but as soon as his intention like soon they're gonna open up, he stood there ready to open up the door to the sweat lodge.
Oh wow.
Yes, by feeling in the group, and this group is so in tune right now. We're 9 men. We have been sitting together for a year, sharing
Mm.
online, but we have been seeing each other 2 times, all 9 of us, like sharing physical, seeing in real life.
You seen each other for two times in real
Two
life.
times in real life. Every guy, everyone in the group have been
Wow.
like taking a vacation, like a weekend together.
Yeah.
And it's so strong, this group. It's we call ourselves the Sun Warriors. We follow the season. We follow the sun cycles and the moon cycles and so on. We're exploring like this. For me, it's like exploring the native way of brotherhood, like doing a
Yeah.
sledgelog and a dispatcher ceremony. It's really amazing to have that kind of community.
I love that, brother. And what's coming to me, it's like you find certain people that you might have only seen in the physical once or twice, but you have this soul connection. And coming back to that feeling that we had when we first met, brother. And that
Yeah,
reminds
yeah,
me of a good friend of mine, Matty Gamble, because this guy I met through literally I did a post on a social media guy we're both following, and then he followed me and we connected, and it's very similar to you, brother, and we've just been in contact. And you feel like there's only a certain group of people that you can just share intimately your truth, and they just resonate with you, and that they just offer that space for you just to be fully vulnerable and express whatever is. And those people are the most sacred ones that you want to surround yourself with. And for me, that's Maddie, and he lives like on the other side of Australia, and I've only ever
yeah,
seen him once. I've seen him once in the physical as well,
yeah.
but it's a connection that goes far beyond just the physical reality, isn't it? It's a it's a soul connection, and that's what you have
Yeah,
with your group.
yeah, and that's the thing about like this soul connection that I also have with you. It's like you don't have any shields up. Like when you talk, when you're glowing, when you're vibing, you just turning all my lights, all my cylinders turns on. Like I know this guy. I have heard him before so many times, like in past lives or whatever, and it's just like balm for my for my soul. It's like true balm for my soul. And that's kind of it doesn't matter if you see each other in real life. When you get these soul connections, it's heating me up. So I have a few of those in my networks, and I am a networker. I see a lot of people, but when you get these feelings, like Sam is one of my closest here in Sweden. He's have been studying like these indigenous cultures for 10, 15 years. And he has this perspective of the four bodies: the physical, the emotional, the intellectual, and the spiritual and energetic body.
Yeah.
So he is actually uh, like when I have been like on my toughest spots in life, when I'm calling him up, like my fists are white because I'm trying to get my shit together before I
Yeah.
break.
Yeah. You hold on to the control.
Yeah, you're like holding on, and like I can't let go now because I'm gonna break and cry
Yes.
and go to the hospital for mentalization. And he's
Yeah.
like, I'm here, brother. I'm here for
Yeah.
real. And when you can feel the contact, when a certain human being is there for you
Mm.
through thick and thin, no matter what, and he's actually saying to me like, I'm real, I'm here.
Yeah.
Because I have been hundreds of friends like coming and going in my life, but some of them I'm stuck on to, with too, because it's for real. It's like we've known each other for thousands of years. So it's like the same with you. Like
Yeah.
getting this deep connection is so valuable for me. It's priceless.
It is, brother. It's an energy exchange as well, isn't it? You know, like they can fill your cup as well as be there for you when you really need it. When you actually just need someone to listen. That's a lot of the times it's someone that's just listening, truly authentic and no judgment, and you can just fully express and you can unpack. That's what it is. Hey, it provides you that space for you just to express whatever is going on, and that allows you then in turn to see it for yourself. Because those moments when you're like clenched up, you're holding on.
Yeah,
Sometimes it feels like there's no way out. Hey, um, that's why it's so important to have these communities and to come back to nature. What this conversation's been all about, coming back to nature and realizing that we're all connected, we're all one, and there is a way for you to find yourself, and it's through going inside. A lot of stillness and breath work's interesting because I started my mornings with breath work as well, brother, and I haven't done that for
nice.
forever. Yeah, and it's so important to come back to the breath as well. It's always here, breath work and then stillness and then the community. Come back to the community. It's so important because
Profound.
we can lose ourselves in our daily lives and in our in our heads, but just the beauty that one person can give you, the space they can give you like a one-on-one conversation, and all of a sudden you can just unpack everything and it just comes out and you're like, oh, this is what.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing is, when I let go, so sometimes my past finding space sometimes to heal, like traumas and things.
Yeah.
I just remember another Sun Warrior called Eric, an actor, and he was like, we were going in the same car. I was driving from it wasn't the Sweat Lodge, but it was another ceremony. We did this in Mars or April, I don't remember. But on that way, I was just spitting out my past, like putting down on the plate, like bam, this is me.
Yeah.
He didn't say much, but he holds space for me, and I gave him so much credit because he just was there, don't shy or like putting his earbacks, like going, okay, what's this? He was like leaning into it, holding space for me to heal. He told me afterward that this was healing for him too.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you just need someone's what do you call it when someone is near you. They don't talk. You have them near you, just holding space for you to just birth things out, and that's chemical for me. It's like really healing, and I all my son brothers I have deep talks with, like Johnny. we have Oscar, we have Christian, David, Sami, Eric, me, um, Emil, and um, the oldest, the elder one, Darenzo, is actually we found it out like later on that we were related, me and Darenzo. He's like my mother's what do you call it? My old mother's aunt's or grandma's cousin or something like that. Like they're, yeah. So I love this talk about the community because I think it's really important that we go back to like sharing our life experience with each other. Stop being afraid of being in a mood of what do people gonna think about me when I'm
Yeah.
saying this? Because when you're in the zone of sharing something authentic about yourself or listening authentic about, don't sit there about thinking of what you're gonna brag about when he's done. Like
Yeah.
what can I come up with that is at least as much fun for him to hear about me? Because
Yeah.
then it's just a contest about who has the best stories.
Yep.
Because when you're in the zone of sharing something and you're in the zone of receiving something, you have this strong bond of energy pouring back and forth. Like it also, when I think about this, I think about this mentor and mentee, or coach and patient, or master and apprentice. You have this master that's always like having his way of doing things, and then you have this apprentice that is questioning everything. Even if the master have found the right way, the apprentice will like suck the information out of him. Like, why do you do it in this way? Oh, I
Mm.
tried all the ways, but this is the right way. Like, the master and apprentice roles are so important, like sharing. So every day when I'm networking, I'm always sitting down and being genuinely curious about the person talking to me. Like, I want to know you. Tell me
Mm.
about your life. Tell me about your soul. Tell me about your visions, your life, your passion. And I will sit here quiet and just give you the space, because that's the nice part about life. Is like these sharings of being yourself and sharing your passion. Because
Yeah.
when someone is passionate about something, it's just like, it's just catching me. It's like, okay, tell me more. Tell me about this stone. Why do you love it? Like,
Yeah.
it could be like a vegetable. Like, I have been growing this for 2 months, and I was like, yeah, tell me more. Like, what happened next? Like, did you eat it, or did you put the seeds in? Like, yeah, like sharing. It's so powerful tool of living,
Yeah.
for real.
And it's not even what they're saying, it's just the energy behind them. It's like their love that they have for whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is, and that's what you're experiencing. Hey, you get to see them light up, and that's some of the best conversations. And for whatever reason, that's the way that I am in this physical reality. Is I love to listen, and even like when I was an electrician, I'd always be having conversations with all the boys around the workshop, and I'd always yeah, once a year they'd have an award for like the person that they vote for, like the most I guess the not best listener, but like this just the guy that they love the most, sort of thing, in the workshop, and I'd win that award, and I'd be like, and then even when I'd win that award, I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. Like, why is that? But it's the way that I am is I just love to listen, and I love just for people to share their whatever they're
Yeah,
going through.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's no coincidence that we've connected, and that we've found ourselves on this path that we're on now.
yeah. Like, authentic relating is also important. Like, everything is welcome. Like, it's okay for you to be sad. It's okay for you to be angry. It's okay for you to be triggered. It's okay for
Yeah.
you to mess up, to failure, or to, like, everything is okay. Because when we starting to say things to ourselves that this isn't okay, I shouldn't be sad because my dad told me not to. I
Mm.
shouldn't be angry because my wife told me not to. Like when you can hold space for your feelings and act on them, not react, but acting on your feelings. Like, okay, I'm feeling so much emotion and tension in my body right now. What should I do? What tools can I actually take to like land in this feeling? Like accept it. When you're starting to push it away, you're starting to fill the bottle up. It's on top. It's boiling always. So you snap and react to everything that's happening around you. When
Yeah.
you start to going into this stillness, this awareness of being yourself and being authentic and communicating authentic, don't think about what you should say afterwards or what you
Mm.
can brag about or anything like that. Just and let go of things. Like it's okay to failure. That was a bigger thing of me. Like I was so suppressed as a child from my surrounding. Like I was starting to suppress myself, and that's the
Yes.
biggest mistake that I did. Like standing up to every people around me telling me that I was shit worth. Like in the end,
Mm.
after many years, I started to tell myself like, okay, I'm shit worth. So what can I do to make me valuable?
Yeah.
So I started to compete and like doing things for others that wasn't for myself because I just
Mm.
want company. I want the community to something. Then that's the point where I was actually starting to destroy my self core. My core values was somebody else. First it was my parents. Like don't eat ice cream. I'm talking to the phone. Every time I can do what I want to do, I get suppressed. And then you go to your friends and your teachers and your politicians, everybody turning your like core, putting your value to something else, to the community, to the system, to your friends. Everybody's just dragging you out. And when you collect those things again, you get power. You get power for your self love.
Mm. Bro, you're speaking my life, hey? I went through the same thing. The same thing. Like going through childhood, just suppressed, and parents, you'll do this, you'll do that, then school, and then friends. And I even did a podcast talking about how every single job that I ever did was on the back of somebody else's. Like my
Yeah,
friends, what were they doing? My parents,
yeah,
what do they think of me? Should I do? And it wasn't until literally 3 years ago where I fully stepped into the unknown, and that's when I've been living that truth and actually experiencing life and unraveling all those layers of the identities that I've created that are not serving, that are
and then they
y-
come the identity crash. Like, who the fuck
yeah.
am I?
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah.
who am I? Who am I? Like I had like this one. My father was like one of the scariest, but also the most safe energy that I have as a child.
Yeah.
I tried to do everything to prove myself to others, not for myself but to others. But he was a hell of a cook, like home cook. So did a lot of cooking food.
Mm.
So I was there like curious about what he was doing. So I had my nose in like the pan, like when he was frying things, like what are you doing? Like tell me more. So I actually decided when I was like 10 years old to be a chef. Like that's what everything that I want to do is like cook food because that's what my father is good at.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go into my father's shoes. But it was also very hard. Like he was cold-handed, like very rough on his screaming and things like that. But he did what he could do, or what he think like he did the best of the situation, and I
Yeah.
accept that. But I started like working as a chef before I went to the chef school here in Sweden, and through the years I was working, and I became really good at like it wasn't like the last 2 3 years now that I actually prove myself being a good chef. Everybody loves my food, and I also now started to cook sacred food, like food that is spiritual, like collecting the nurturing of the food, not just the taste. And I actually have like a thing going on with where you can cook food that is good for you, but also tastes good. Like you're doing different kind of dishes. if you want to get energy or come down or so on. But the food was the main theme through my whole life because that was the only thing that I get attached to. I'm gonna be like my father, like cooking food and being good at it. And that's led me to one thing that I also want to take up here is like the talent in the talent. If you ask me like, what did you make? I made a tomato soup. Maybe you're fine there. You don't want to know more. But then you say, well, what did you have in it? And then I like, okay, this person is actually asking me a question of what I created.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I had some carrots, I had some tomatoes, some onion, some basil, and so on. And I feel like, oh, nice, I shared actually what I created to someone. And like, but what did you do with the onion? Oh, okay. So I chopped it this way. Why did you chop it that way? And then when you come to this master and apprentice, when you have an apprentice asking question, dragging the subconscious techniques of your passion, so you can talk about what you have been creating
Yeah.
to someone that is interested in listening. Then we have this collaboration of sharing some expertise. Like when you're doing things for 30,000 hours, you're going to be pretty good at it. I don't know how many thousand on and how you've been. Like I know every detail of like peeling an onion. The fastest way, the safest way, the quickest way, the tastiest way of an onion. I have been, and every time I do things, I'm like, why do I do this and that and this and that? And I have that. I could write a book about onions, for real.
Wow.
But the thing is, when you find the talent in the talent, so what am I good at? What is my profession? What do I do in my head that make me create these things? So actually, when you paint a painting, you have colors, you have a two-dimensional like canvas painting on it. There's one way, but the thing is with the chef work, when you do like creation, you have taste, you have colors, you have texture, you have time. If you slow cook a beef or you do it fast, it's different ways. And you have all these raw materials, like you can roast a carrot, you can boil a carrot, you can smash up carrot, you can dry a carrot, and you have this endless of possibilities of doing a plate. You have some red tomatoes, some orange carrots, you have this beef, you have this like yellow sauce, and you're creating something with your eyes, your nose, your smell, and what you hear. So it's mastering something huge of a lot of input for me. So when I end up with harvesting this talent, so what am I doing? I'm networking with people, I'm cooking food. How can I combine these two? So I actually said one time, what about cooking food on people? Like networking and cooking food. So if you're gonna create a group, you have different type of qualities in the group. You have some, we can say it like this, you have someone that is salt, you have someone that is sour, you have someone that is sweet, you have someone, the five senses. So what if I put in two salty person, one sweet person, and one sour person? What type of like dynamic would you create in the group? So I love these one-on-one things, but I also love the group things. So that's what I harvest from the chef thing, like creating. I have this network of people, like ingredients in my head. Like how can I put them in groups so that they can get creative together?
It's like a
So that's
mastermind group as well, isn't it?
yeah, it's actually I've been telling friends like, what if I'm doing the network thing where you're gonna build a bridge, but you have only people building bridges in the group. So five bridge builder people going to build a bridge. It's gonna be a typical bridge, like from the history. What happened if you put in like one a chef in there and a nurse?
Mm.
Other professions, other perspective. Every perspective is valuable in the right time and right place for a creative creation.
Mm.
So yes, shifting the dynamics, and I always get like a sense of the group. I get like a color of the group. I get also a number. I can get some qualities of the groups with other perspectives, and I can like feel like my friend Oscar should be a genius in this group of getting this group to create something together. So
Yeah.
that's actually what one of my visions was like doing this cooking groups, like doing groups to evolve the society to a healthier place with nature. So that's
Yeah.
one of my dreams.
I love that, brother. Hey, it's it's a role that you can facilitate. You can come into any environment and just have that intuitive feeling of like who would actually impact this place, who would make a difference with
The
it.
right, yeah,
What's the right ingredient to put in this dish
yeah, yeah.
to bring it
This
to
is so
life?
sour. This is so sour. I need something sweet. Like this is so grounded. I need something that is more. What do you call it when you're upwards to the source? I don't know, the high chakras and the low chakras. So if you have a group with a lot of low, hard, powerful low chakras, you're getting
Yeah.
a lot of doing. You don't get
Mm.
a lot of input with ideas
Yeah.
and like fluff,
Yeah.
cloudiness.
Yeah. 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 Need
So
more
yes,
intuitive people.
maybe you need like a nurse that is very fluffy because you have a hard, solid group with grounded people is in the doing. So
Yeah.
that's where the
Very
color.
masculine. You need some more
Yeah,
feminine.
yeah. So
Love.
always see that. I just realized that I was beaming out my story about the cooking and the talent. But I love when people like find their like the soul talent. Like
Mm.
we have been training on our talent for a lot of lives. So when you find something that you're passionate about and doing it, like see it like in the awakening program, what if you see it from behind? Like who is it before Jimmy? Who
Mm.
is it behind Jimmy? And what is that person or soul or anything? What is there that is actually uh, getting the input that Jimmy is creating with? So whatever I done in my previous lives that I have done for so many years or in so many lives that I can harvest in this life and make a collaboration and cooperation with.
Yeah. I feel that comes through. It comes through the intuitive knowing inside and comes through stillness, brother. Hey, or for me
Yeah.
anyway. Like the more you still yourself, the more you spend time by yourself, the more you realize all these things. Otherwise, we're just on the habit of doing, and we lose ourselves in that doing. And doing is a part of it, but it's actually coming back to being.
Tell me about the stillness. You have been every morning. Have you like being in stillness for how long?
Um, I'd say it's over a year, over a year. I'd say year and a half, 2 years of
Yeah,
meditation. Yeah, and for me, it's literally just sitting in this chair or sitting on the couch and closing my eyes, and it just there's a devotion. It has to be a priority, brother. For me, it's like first thing in the morning because I've got the three girls. Um, so I'll get up early. Like even this call, I was up at 3,
yeah.
and it goes through. It changes in terms of like I used to be very strict. It's like it has to be this way. It's got to be an hour, and then I go through a phase of okay, I'm staring at a candle. Now I'm closing my eyes, or now I'm keeping my eyes open. I'm staring at the wall. It just sort of shifts as you, I guess, as in nature. Nature just shifts through the seasons. So as you just keep progressing in this life experience, it just shifts and shifts. But it always comes back to even just taking a breath. It always comes back to it is a priority. It's always here. The stillness is always here. It's the blank canvas. in which all of this experience is happening, and it's just such a beauty when you devote yourself to it.
Yeah.
Because it just unravels all of this illusion, all these
'Cause
things that we've discussed today.
I see you like so in line with what you say and what you like, what you say and what you're glowing. So your words is connected to your soul when you're talking. It's like a like tunnel right through you every time you speak. Every time I see you at your short videos or your podcast or whatever, you just have found that Zen or like the point zero energy that is you, and you express it, and that's the power of you. That's what I'm inspired to get also in myself more, like this stillness, this like take a breath and like let go of everything that is on your shoulders and start over. You can always take that breath. Like even when it's hard, when your shit is going down, you might need a friend, but you can just take the breath and like clean the canvas, start over,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's fucking inspiring.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And you're doing it as well. You're actually inspiring me. You're doing it with the Sun Brothers, and the community that you're creating and the networking that you are, the energy that you are, bro. So you're actually doing it right now, brother. I had there's this woman, I think she's from Sweden, and I started doing these reels, and she just started following me on Facebook, and she actually sent me a voice message asking me if she could send me a book. And she sent me this book called Moments. I'll have to share it with you sometime. There's just little passages, and she just sent me a voice message saying that this came to her from the source, and it's just like little paragraphs. But she just felt that.
From Sweden?
Just that, yeah, she's from Sweden, yeah. Her name's Kirsty Glorson or something. But she just felt that intuitive nudge to reach out and actually share like something of hers. I was like, wow, it's incredible how as you just start to express yourself, and I find through just putting yourself out there on social media, brother, that's when I get to see a lot. Like if it's reels or if it's podcast or conversations like this or awakening calls, it's just through freely expressing yourself, putting yourself out there, you get to see what you are. You get to see it through actually the dance of movement. So there's a stillness, there's a direction, but then there's also like a movement and getting to witness what's happening within that movement. And for me, that's through social media or podcasting or reels or whatever it is. It's it's as you start to express yourself more and more and more, you get to fully witness what's going on.
Yeah, and yes. What is reminding me when you said that is like when humans are loving the details, like they can get so much energy out of so small things, and sharing that passion and like that energy with your community, like hyping about like like a candle, like, oh my god,
Yeah.
this candle is so amazing, and I saw the flame was going up, and when they shared that, like my sister did this with me like an hour ago or 3 hours ago. We was playing cards, and she was like fascinated how my fiance flipped up the cards in the moment she did it, and the way she did it. She just hyped about it, like that was cool. And I was like, okay, what's cards? Let's share.
Yeah.
The small things. It's everything is in the details. Like
Yes.
sharing up.
Yeah, and it's like the small things become the big things, and I feel like it would be for you as well, brother. Like for our kids are just such beautiful reminders of that, of bringing yourself back. It's like a snap back to here, because you can be lost in the thought, you could be lost in some sort of idea or whatever. But for someone just to get so excited and about the things that we think are small, like kids just like playing, all of a sudden like, come have a look, like I'm building a tower or something. Like, okay, it just snaps you back into this moment, this present moment, this beautiful gift that we have.
Yeah.
These little small moments become everything. Hey.
And actually the kids are like sharing like their experience for real. Like he
Yeah.
could do a jump, like jumping off the sofa and be like, Dad, look, 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 look. I was, yeah, I'm looking. I did a jump. And I was like, oh cool. Like he does it so many times that like I'm one way of my head was like thinking like, okay, that isn't something for me because
Mm.
it isn't. But when I see how he is experience it, like the first time you do a massive jump from the sofa, 4 years old, to a bunch of I have a cat here that is scratching on the.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's my bro cat, and he's. Wait a minute, I will
Wants to
see
come
what
inside.
he's. Yeah, this is my bro cat. He wants to get inside. Oh, he's on. Yeah, but also with my bro cat here, he's when he like get a feather, like it isn't a bird, but it's a feather,
Mm.
and he's coming home like so proud of himself, like saying to me like, "Look what I got! Look what I got! I got a feather!" Like laying it
Showing off.
down, showing off like on my feet, like putting this feather down. And I was like, "Oh, you're so good."
As long
Yeah,
as he didn't kill that bird.
yeah. So he's amazing.
Yeah.
This cat I saved him from. He and his sister um got their other, what do you call it? Not like parent, but the human that was taking care of these two cats, Hans and Greta. He
Yeah.
died, and they spent like 3 whole days with their owner, or what you call it.
Yeah.
And we adopted them. We took care of them, putting them in our home. And Hans was just staring into the wall for weeks, and Greta was the same thing, as hiding. And now 3 years later, he's like the closest I have become, have got to an animal. Like
Yeah.
he's taking care of my beard, like cleaning it, like sleeping with me, like every night he is like getting in touch with me, comforting me, getting walks with me. So that's something else when you get that
Yeah.
contact with animals.
Yeah, that's a beautiful connection. I used to always have golden retrievers growing up, these dogs. And I remember even when I was 21 and living in a small town, and I might go out out into the town, get drunk, and then I'd come home, go out the back door, and then she'd just be there, and I just lay down next to her and I just look at the stars with her and just give her
Mm.
that little play and stuff. And there's just there's an unconditional love. Like maybe you feel it with
Yeah,
Brocat. Maybe Brocat does his own thing every now and then, but there's just an unconditional love with dogs. Say there's no judgment. They're exactly how they are.
yeah.
Um,
They really in the moment. Like they don't
yeah.
think. They just
No.
act or
Yeah.
react.
Yeah. 100%. 100% present. Some of the most awakened ones are cats. You know.
Yeah, and he's he's funny. Like when he's climbing at me, also like yeah. It's actually saw my fiance having this relationship to a dog. Our
Hmm.
The dog passed away. The dog passed away. I think it is like a month before we were waiting my son. So 4.5 years ago or something like that,
Yeah.
or 9 months before he was released. But never mind. They had this deep connection, her and this dog, and I was like, how can you get this deep with an animal? I didn't see that before I started spending time with Hans. Like I would do a lot. of things for this cat. He's precious,
Yeah.
and I understand why my fiance would do that same thing for her dog.
Yeah. There's, they're part of the family, and there's no
Yeah,
judgment. That's the thing,
yeah,
and
it
they're purely
isn't.
present.
Yeah,
This has been a beautiful chat, Jimmy. Hey.
yeah, who is really big, and I actually feel passionate with you. I feel like I can share my passion through and through with you because you're just there holding space for it, and that's one thing I will enjoy, like looking back on this call, because we are we had talked about having this type of call with recording, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, we did it now, and I'm feeling that I had a really blast, like having just a call.
Yeah, I feel that too, brother. I feel like I'm energized as well. This is a beautiful way for me to start my day.
It's a beautiful way to end my day.
And it had to
That's
happen now.
that's the beauty of this. Like you're going up and I'm going down
Yeah, and then we'll
and going to bed.
catch you in the middle
Yeah, yeah.
when you
Catch
wake
up
up.
in this fine hour. I would love to have
Yeah,
this type of call again,
yeah,
and see if we can share this type of calls, because this is what I'm living for. Like this type of relation calls, like just talking about life and experiences,
yeah.
and
I love.
like ignoring like the cameras, like don't think about what you're gonna say, or just talk from your heart.
From
Open
your
your
heart.
heart, quiet the mind.
Yeah, open your heart, quiet the mind. Thank you, brother. Thank you for being you, Jimmy.
Thank you. Thank
And have a
you.
beautiful sleep. And yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you on the next one. Well, there'll be
Yeah.
many more. There'll be many more.
Yeah, there will be many more. The talk between Mark and Jimmy, like,
Yeah, it keeps going. It keeps on
yeah,
going.
yeah, it keeps going. Yeah,
Beautiful, brother. Have a beautiful rest of your evening. Much love to
same
you
to
and the
you.
family.
Much love to you and your family. And I
Thank
hope
you.
I will see you here in Sweden. And I
We will
will
next year.
love to come to Australia if there wasn't a issue about flight for my fiance.
It's a big flight, hey. It's a big flight. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. She
Yeah,
she
next
wants
year.
next year. Yeah.
Oh, oh, sorry. Your fiance wants to come.
What?
Do your fiance wants to come, but she doesn't like flying, or?
Yeah, she definitely wants to come, but she doesn't fly. She wasn't to my brother's wedding either in Italy, because
Oh
there
yeah,
was a massive flight, and she don't fly it. She don't fly.
yeah,
But maybe sometime,
yeah. We'll get her on the boat
someday.
or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of
We'll
course.
find a way. Beautiful, Jimmy. Well, awesome to hear from you and feel your energy. I'm very grateful for you and how we've connected, and it's
Yeah,
no coincidence.
the same to you. Like I'm always doing like this check in and check out when I have this type of calls. So I go in with what I have, like I'm feeling this and that in my body and so on,
Mm.
and I also want to leave my conversations with what I'm taking with me, and I can say what I'm taking with me right now is like the power of you, the power of this call, like being authentic and sharing. I just love it, and as we were saying, I hope we're doing more of this.
Yeah, we will, and that's what I feel, and I'm taking just this energy of, I can just feel this ringing. That's when you know it's a beautiful
Yeah.
here moment. We're here, and I can see just the tip of the morning starting. It's just happening outside. It's getting a little bit lighter. Um,
Oh.
yeah, planes flying over. That'll be us flying to Sweden next year. But I feel very grateful for you, brother, and your energy and the space that you hold. You do.
Yeah, I will catch up with you tomorrow when I wake up and see
Yeah.
how your day is going.
Beautiful, brother. All right. Enjoy, Jimmy.
Enjoy.
Catch ya.
Catch ya.